Hello, I'm the Reverend Tom Carter, and I presently serve as the endorsing agent for the United Methodist Church. I'll explain that a little bit later in terms of what my exact position is now, but I work for the General Board of Higher Education and Ministry here in Nashville, Tennessee. I grew up on a dairy farm in Upper Delaware and was very active in 4-H and Future Farmers of America, were probably more important in my beginning to understand who I am and what my call was because of the influence of my parents, and they were active in Newark United Methodist Church. And as a young child, I was basically taken to church. It wasn't a choice, but in my early teens, I really felt a very strong opportunity to learn about my faith and to grow in my faith by attending church and being active in the what was called MYF, Methodist Youth Fellowship. Part of my church experience was to attend our church camp, Camp McComath in Centerville, Maryland. And when I was 17, I felt a very strong call to serve God, and my initial thought was to basically become an agricultural missionary because of my agricultural background. I went on to attend the University of Delaware, majoring in agriculture, and then felt that if I was going to serve as a missionary, I needed a seminary education, and I went to Candler School of Theology, Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. In the early part of my time there, I met my wife, Judy, my future wife, Judy, and she was in nursing school, and I thought, boy, this would really be great. Nurse, agricultural missionary. But because of her own experience and background as an Army brat, I was inclined to say, well, maybe the military chaplaincy would be an opportunity. I was an ROTC graduate and was commissioned in the Quartermaster Corps, had a deferment because of seminary. And during that time, the Cuban Missile Crisis came, and I was feeling a very strong patriotic sense of call. And so when I completed seminary, I entered the Army chaplaincy, basically a very short time after graduating from seminary. I served as student charge, and that gave me my pastoral experience. Within a year of entering the Army chaplaincy, I was in Vietnam, serving with the 1st Infantry Division. That was a very challenging time. The country was behind the war at that time, and if I reflect back on my life, that was the most exciting year of my life in terms of feeling God placing me where I needed to serve. I returned from Vietnam, and within 2 years, I was back in Vietnam for my second tour. And that, too, was a challenge because by that time, the early 70s, the country had basically given up on the war in Vietnam. And so the service members there were really, in many ways, ridiculed, and I felt that very strongly as well. The challenges of being in combat, facing life and death issues on a daily basis, was very critical in my being a chaplain and bringing a faith perspective to those who were serving and those who were living and actually dying for our country. I spent 28 years total as an active duty Army chaplain, and when I retired, I went back to my annual conference feeling a call to go back and serve. And within a few months of my returning, I ended up as the conference director of camping and retreat ministry. The exciting part of going back to Camp McComath, the place where I received my call, was that every Thursday evening during summer camp, they had the Galilean service, and the Galilean service was where I had felt my call to ministry. So interacting with young people as they too were making their decision to follow Christ, and actually some deciding to be in ministry themselves, it was a really exciting time to be there. I completed my time there as the director of camping and retreat ministry, and received a call from the endorsing agent at that time, Pat Barrett, would I come to Nashville to fill in for someone who had retired for 6 weeks. Well, I came to Nashville in August of 2002, and it has been 12 years that I have filled the opportunity to be in relationship to the chaplains and pastoral counselors that we endorse. The endorsement basically is a stamp of approval of the United Methodist Church that these individuals will represent the United Methodist Church in the various callings in hospital, military, as pastoral counselors. We have over 1,600 of these individuals that we support and serve on a daily basis. So my ministry really started with this agency and now is coming to a time when I am reflecting on the wonderful time I've had in this service. Thank you very much.